Welcome friends. Today I will show you how to create a basic Spring Boot application with Actuator enabled. Actuator is one of the features of Spring Boot which enables a developer to gather different metrics about the application via different actuator endpoints. So to start the application, we have to take help of the Spring Initializr. So Spring Initializr is a tool which lets us create basic Spring Boot application template. So the address of this Spring Initializr is start.spring.io and I am here now. So here I can choose the best uh, build tool for my choice to use in the application, the language, the Spring Boot version, this Java version, and the choice of my dependencies. So for this application, I'll be choosing Gradle. You people can choose any build tool, either Maven or Gradle from your choice. The Spring Boot version I'll be using is 2.3.1 and the group would be org.app.rest and the artifact name will be spring-app. The description would be a demo project for Spring Boot REST plus actuator. I'll be using the packaging model as jar and the Java version I'll be using is 11. You may choose the JDK version which is installed in your machine. In my machine I have both Java 8 and 11 installed, but I am using JDK 11. Now I'll use the dependencies, which dependencies I want to use in my Spring Boot application. So to do that, I'll click on Add Dependencies and I need two dependencies for this application. One is Spring Web. I have typed web and it gives me the list of dependencies available. So I'll be choosing Spring Web. Then the second dependencies I want is actuator. I am trying actuator and after typing few letters again the Spring Boot actuator dependencies is available. I'll click on it. So my project template would be ready once I'll click generate. I have clicked on generate and the Spring app zip uh, file is downloaded and I have to open it so that I can use it, open it in an ID, extract it and open it in an ID. So I will open it in a folder and I'll also open the ID of my choice. For this application I am using the ID of my choice is Intellij. So you people can use any ID of your choice. I prefer Intellij IDEA Community Edition, so I am using it. It will take some time to open the IDE. So I'll go to where my zip file is available. So this is the zip file. I have Spring app zip. I will copy this zip file to the my workspace folder, and in my workspace folder I will extract it. Once I have extracted, I will try to open it from the Intellij. To do that, I'll choose open. When I'll do open, I have to go to the path where this application is available. So this application is available under workspace, and under workspace there is Spring app. I'll choose OK, and the project will be opened here. It will ask if I want to open the project in the same window or I want to open it in a different window of Intellij. I'll choose this window. So it will take some time so that the Gradle project is imported to Intellij IDEA. Till then, we can wait. I'll put background so that it will work on background, and till the meantime will verify how the what is the structure of the application. So if you see, there is a settings.gradle file, there is a help.md, there is a gradle w.bat, and there is a gradle w.sh file, there is a build.gradle file, there is a git.gitignore file, and there is a src folder. The src folder has the package structure we have given. The package is org app rest spring app, and here we'll have the application spring app application. So this is a basic Spring application which is created here by default by the Spring Initializr. It is also asking the JDK is not set, so I can click on this setup JDK and it will take me to choose which JDK I want. I will add 11, Java 11. So it is taking some time to download the dependencies. We can see which dependencies it needs in the build.gradle file. So if you see, it has by default added the Spring Boot version 2.3.1, Java plugin, as well as we have choose source compatibility 11, and it has also added the dependencies .spring framework.boot. The artifact is Spring Boot starter actuator and starter web, and it also by default adds one Spring Boot starter test. Now let's go inside the main Java and the package. So we have the file opened here. I don't want to do anything here. I basically want to create a REST REST application. So I don't want to change anything in this Spring App application class. Rather, I'll create a REST controller. I'll right click here on the package and choose new Java class. I'll create a class called student. The student would be one entity class which I'll be using in my REST service. So I'll make the class serializable, and inside it I'll be having three variables: long id, rather private long id, private string name, private string address, private string course. I'll create all the required getter setter methods, constructor, toString, and equals and hash code method. For that, what we can do is we can right click on the application, right click here and go to generate. So generate will first give whatever the application I need, whatever the content I want to add, I can choose. First I'll choose constructor. For constructor, first I need a no argument constructor. So I choose known. Then next I will create another constructor which will have all the 4 variables. So I have created 2 constructors. One is a no argument constructor and another one is a parameterized constructor. Next I will choose to create the getter and setters. So again I'll choose getter and setter for all the variables. So all the getter and setters are created. Now I will create the toString method. So I'll choose select all and okay. So toString is also ready. Then next I will create the equals and hashcode method. I'll select that and just keeping the defaults, I'll create everything. So my student class is done. Now I'll create the student controller. So for that, right click on the package, new Java class. My class name would be student controller. To start with, I'll first make this class a REST controller. Second, I'll put a request mapping. So the top level mapping for this class would be student. I'll create a map to store the students. So that is private map long students equals to new hash map. That's it. Then I'll first create a get method which will return all the students available under the hash map. So public response entity all, it return new response entity students dot values comma http status dot okay. This is the get mapping. We have to create another get method which will retrieve one student based on its ID. So another get mapping, and here we'll have ID as the path variable. So again same public response entity find @path variable long ID. So here we have to check if the student exists or not. first student equals to if student is not equals to null, then return reu response entity student comma http status dot okay. Otherwise we can simply copy the same line and paste it here, where instead of OK the http status will be not found. Then we'll proceed to create a delete mapping. So again the delete mapping would be same. We need an ID which we have to delete. Public string delete @path variable long ID if students dot contains key ID we can do the same again. First we can delete it, remove ID, then we can return student deleted, else we can return student not available to delete. So we are done with two get methods, one delete. Now we'll create a put method. So in put also we need an ID path variable. Public response entity update. Here we need a path variable as well as one request body of student type. So again here first we have to see if the corresponding student ID exists. So for that we'll put a for if block. So students dot contains key ID, if yes then student dot set ID, that is ID, and students dot put ID comma student. But if the student doesn't exist, in that case we'll be returning student not found as a message, and here not found. So we have two get methods, one delete method, one put method. Now we'll be creating the last method, that is the post method. So I'll be creating a post method. So it should be public response entity add. We need a request body of student. So for that we have to create one variable called generated key, which will be used to keep on adding IDs, keep on generating IDs. So by default the value is initialized to 0. So here what I'll use is student dot set ID plus plus generated key. Now students dot put student dot get ID comma student. And return new response entity student comma http status dot created. So my REST controller is created with all the 5 REST methods. Now I need to in application.properties I have to add few variables. First of all, I'll make this application name as Spring App. It should run on port 8080. If you don't add also, by default it will run on port 8080. And then I need two variables for actuator: management endpoints web exposure include equals to star management endpoint dot health dot show details is always. So these will ensure that all the actuator endpoints are exposed, and it will display everything for health endpoint, health actuator endpoint. Now as the application is ready, now we can start the application. From this Gradle window. So here I have the boot run method. So it is taking some time to build for the first time, Now if people can see, the application is started at port 8080 and it is exposing 13 endpoints at path actuator. So to access the application, I'll go to my browser, open another tab, I'll type localhost 8080/actuator. So I'll get this many details for my actuator. So the first one, actuator, second one, actuator/beans, actuator/caches, actuator/health/info, env, loggers, thread dump, and many thing else. So I'll try checking the loggers if I have any detail about it. So I have these details about my loggers. I'll see env. This is the env details I'll get. This is the environment variable details I'll get. Then I'll see beans. These are the bean details I am getting. Then I'll see for health. This is the health status I am getting. Now let's go to check the student. Endpoint. If you remember, in our REST controller, our endpoint for student is /student. That is why I am using student. So this will map to this method, the default get method, where it was supposed to return all students. But as we haven't added anything to the students map, it is returning null. If you see, it is not null but a blank map. That is the reason because we haven't yet added anything to the student. Now to start with, I will open one application I have already installed called Arc. Arc is an advanced REST client to test your RESTful applications. So here, if I see, I'll try to do a get to student. So here I am getting array and the array size is 0. Now let's say I want to do a post. To do the post, I have to send one student object, and my application I have already added that my content type would be application JSON. Now I click on body and here I'll create a student JSON structure. How do I know the student JSON structure? I should know what are the variables available inside student. So student has 4 variables: ID, name, address, and course. So I'll be sending. So ID is not required because ID will be by default created by the controller. We need to pass 3 variables: name, student, and course. Sorry, name, address, and course. So here, first name, let's say name is Aditya. Second, course is MTech. Last is address. Let's say address is Bangalore. So now I'll hit send. I got some issue. I have to check what is the issue. there is a null pointer exception and student 54. So I have to check why it is coming as null pointer exception. Okay. I'll do one thing. I'll initialize it to 0L and restart this application. This time it will run faster. So the issue was this long variable was not initialized. That is why it was returning null pointer exception. So right now I have initialized to this 0. So the student is properly working. Now let's say here I am localhost 8080 student. So it is returning one student. Now let's say I'll go back and I'll create one more student. Address Kolkata. So I'll send. So second student is also created. Now I will refresh it. I got two students. Now let's say I have to update a student. So in that case I have to change the student, so the method from post to put. After student I have to give the student ID. Let's say I have to change the second student, so student ID 2. So here instead of Pratap I'll make it Chandrasekhar. Send. So if you can see, the student name is changed. So right now we have two students. One is Aditya and the other one is Pratap, which we have changed. I'll refresh it. Now you can see it is changed to Chandrasekhar. Now let's say I want to delete one student. So instead of, let's say I want to delete student 2. So instead of put, I'll make it delete. So the output is student deleted. Now let's say I'll put the send the delete method again for student 2. This time I got student deleted. Let's see what I am getting this time. Here I am getting student not available to delete. So because the student is already deleted, I cannot delete it again. And if I refresh it, I am getting now only one student. Now let's revisit Actuator again. So these are the Actuator endpoints available, which displays different details. So there are, again, under Actuator we have bins, which gives details about all the bins we have. then we have cache, we have health, we have info, we have env, we have logger, we have thread dump, we have metrics, we have schedule tasks. So I'll check another endpoint called thread dump. Let's see, /actuator. So these are the information I am getting. Let's try to get it in the arc. Here it will make it a better representation. So here if you see, it is giving details, more better details, because it has beautified the JSON response. So friends, this is how you can create a Spring Boot application with REST service, with actuator enabled, and you can test it with Arc. If you like this video, please press like button. Thank you.